Good morning, everybody. Today I'm going to send you this online tutorial because we are going to discuss the structure of an essay. Since this topic is extremely important, especially when you look at it from the final examination perspective, I think it is better if I explain it, let's say, as much live as I can. So let's get back to it. In that shared folder that I put on Google Drive, the one template for writing, I have added this file essay with the basic structure of this type of text. Please, as usual, notice that this is a general outline. It doesn't mean that it works all the time. It means that you need to adjust it and adapt it according to what the instructions are asking from you. Alright, now let's start. Before we analyze in depth each part of the essay, I think it's good to compare it with a report. Now, when we deal with an essay, we are talking about a different type of writing because while with a report we are asked to use objective language, cold language, scientific language. When we write an essay, we can get more subjective because most essays are about the writer's opinion. Therefore, it becomes subjective automatically. Another important difference as far as the format is concerned is that in a report you are strongly recommended to using subheadings in order to mark each single section. Whereas in an essay, you don't do that. Do not, let me repeat it, do not use subheadings, but use simply the regular paragraph structure in order to mark where a paragraph ends, where a paragraph begins and where it ends. Besides that, we have the same type of requirements, which are formal language, complex structures, and of course appropriate tone. Remember, this is formal language, this is a formal type of writing, therefore the expected vocabulary has to be on the high hand of formality. Alright, now let's have a look at the table I put here. As you can see, the structure is quite simple. We have an introduction in which you explain what you are going to discuss. After the introduction, you have paragraphs, and the number of paragraphs depends on the number of questions that you will read in your instructions. What is important is that for each question, you need to create a separate paragraph, and the information contained in paragraph 1, for example, cannot be repeated in paragraph 2 or onward. After discussing all the points provided by the instructions, it's time to conclude. And in the conclusion here, you are going to make a very brief summary of what you have previously said, and you are going to stress again your opinion. As I said, most essays are about your opinion or about presenting advantages and disadvantages on a certain topic. Therefore, you need to keep that in mind when writing your conclusion because you need to get back to it in order to leave a memory in the reader's mind. Now, I took as a sample a task that was assigned in last year's final examination, and it was precisely an essay. Let's have a look at the instructions. Estonian students must study 15 subjects in forms 10 to 12. Some people think the students should be able to choose only 5 subjects to concentrate on. And here now you have the 2 bullet points. What are the advantages and disadvantages of studying fewer subjects? And secondly, should the present system be changed? Why or why not? You need to write an essay and you should write about 200 words. Now, let's get back to our structure. And the first part will be the introduction. So in the introduction, basically, you are going to use the very first part of your instructions. Of course, you need to re-elaborate, rephrase. Do not copy words just as they are. Do not make a sort of copy-paste. You need to show off your skills. Then, let's move on. The first bullet point is what are the advantages and disadvantages of studying your subject? And this, as we saw, is going to be our first paragraph. However, please mind that this is a complex question because it does not take into account just one type of opinion, but in this case, two of them, because you have to talk about advantages and you need to talk about also disadvantages, so positive and negative aspects of studying your subject. Personally, I would recommend creating two paragraphs here. First paragraph about advantages and second paragraph about disadvantages. Why is that? There are two reasons mainly. The first one is a matter of organization. It will look much better and way better organized if you split this question into two smaller questions. And second of all, it's a matter of style and format, because if you keep the answer to this question in a single paragraph, at the end you are going to have this first paragraph very long, while the second and the other paragraphs are going to be shorter. Therefore, you are going to notice it as soon as you look at it. Then, after discussing the first bullet point, let's move on to the second one. Should the present system be changed? Why or why not? Even though you have two questions, the second part is, let's say, rhetorical, because as you know, the why question is my favorite one, and you always need to take it into account. Therefore, the second bullet point can stand as an independent paragraph. Finally, in your conclusion, you are going to sum up the advantages, the disadvantages, and the second part, which is where you need to express your own opinion. Now, remember that although this type of writing is subjective, you need to keep it formal. And anyway, even if you want to express your own opinions as you are supposed to, you need to express them in a formal way. I'm going to attach some extra material that hopefully will help you do that. I'm going to post another recording soon talking about how to structure a single paragraph when you need to talk about your own opinions. If you have any questions, please, you know what to do. Feel free to send an email or any other means of communication. Thank you.